Hey everyone, my name is Riley Church and I am a junior here at App. I am an elementary education major with a second academic concentration in exceptional learners. For my Teach Anything assignment, I'm going to be teaching you all how to braid hair. Today I'm going to be braiding Macy's hair. She is a freshman at Wilkes Community College. And so I guess I'm just going to go ahead and show y'all how to braid. So to start off with, to braid hair, you want to start off with some utensils. And the utensils that you typically will need is a brush. So I just have a simple brush. This is actually a wet brush, which I love. It's just a name brand because it's really gentle on hair. And then I have a comb that I like. This is more of a wide tooth comb, so it's going to be more gentle when combing through hair. And then to secure braids, you can use hair ties. This is just a normal hair tie. And then another thing that you can use to tie off hair is hair elastics or rubber bands. That's what they look like. They're just like little rubber bands that you can use to secure braids. That's what I have in my hair right now. I actually just have a couple of them layered up, so in case one breaks, the braids still don't fall. And so yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So to start off with, you just want to comb or brush the hair. I always like to start towards the bottoms or the end of the hair and just work the way up the hair so the hair doesn't cause more tangles, and it's a whole lot more gentle on the hair. And so you just want to make sure all of the hair is smooth. So you just want to make sure all the hair is combed through so there's no tangles. Okay, and so first to start off, when learning how to braid, you want to take the hair and you want to divide it into 3 equal sections. So here are my 3 pretty equal sections. It's okay if they're not perfect, but you want them decently balanced in how much hair you have in each section. So these are pretty equal. And then once you have your 3 sections of hair, you are going to cross over the outside pieces and they're going to become the new middle pieces, and you're just going to keep alternating the outside pieces to become the new middle piece. So I'm going to take this outside piece and I'm just going to cross it over and it's going to become the new middle piece. So now you have still your 3 sections, but the far left outside piece became the new middle piece. And so now it's this side's out or turned to become the new middle piece. So I'm just going to cross this piece over and now it's the new middle piece. And so whenever I braid hair, I typically hold it with both hands, and you'll kind of just like learn what feels most comfortable with your hands and like learning how to braid. But you're just going to continue to cross the pieces of hair over each other and always take the outside piece and it's going to become the new middle piece. And you're just going to keep doing this all the way down and you will see the braid start to form. And so this is how you do a normal 3-strand braid. And so now you can see I have braided her hair in a simple 3-strand braid. And then you can just use a hair tie or a hair rubber band and just secure the hair. Then once you have the hair secured, then there is a normal 3-strand braid. And so you're just simply taking the outside pieces and just crossing them over to the middle. And then you can see how I did that right here. And so it's pretty simple, but it takes a lot of practice. And so that is a normal 3-strand braid. And so now I'm going to show you how to do an under braid or a Dutch braid. So you're going to start the process the same way as the normal 3-strand braid. You're just going to start by taking the hair and dividing it into 3 equal sections like this. So the hair is in pretty equal sections, and you can always just add a little bit more and a little bit less to each section. And so for an under braid, it's going to be the same process, but instead of the pieces going over one another to become the new middle piece, the pieces are going to go under. So the outside pieces are going to go under each other to form the braid. So for this, I'm going to once again start with the far left side, or just the first piece. So you can also number the pieces, so you have section 1, 2, and 3. And so I'm going to start by taking 1 to go under section 2, which is the middle piece. And that is going to be like the first stitch of the braid. Then I'm going to take the third section, which hasn't done anything yet, and I'm going to cross it under the new middle piece. So you can renumber the sections 1, 2, and 3. And so 3 is now going to go under section 2 to do the second stitch of the braid. And so the same thing, you can renumber the pieces 1, 2, and 3. And 1 is going to go under 2. And this is just forming an under braid. So instead of the pieces going on top of each other, they're simply going under each other. So the pieces are just flipping. So this outside piece is going to go under the middle piece, and then this outside piece is going under the middle piece. And you're just going to continue this process of the outside pieces going under the middle sections to become the new middle section, all the way down till you run out of hair. And so she has layers, so the layers tend to pop out a little bit of the braid. So you can choose to continue braiding or end the braid when the pieces start to pop out. So I'm just going to tie off the hair. And this is how you do a 3-strand under braid or a Dutch braid. And so here you can see the under braid. It looks very similar to the first braid. This braid is just simply going under, like I said before, instead of over each other. And so after that, I'm going to show you 2 different hairstyles of how you can use both of these braids. But this time I'm going to show you how to create French braids, which is adding in hair. Instead of starting at the very bottom and braiding, we're going to start at the top and add hair in to the braids. So once again, you want to just start at the bottom of the hair and work your way up to brush the hair through. And this time I'm going to show you how to do a simple French braid. So I'm going to start at the very front of her head at the top, and the braid is just going to go straight down the back. And for this braid, I'm going to use the first braid I showed you, which is a French braid, or a simple 3-strand. But we're going to add in hair, which makes it a French braid. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off with a small chunk of hair at the top. As you can see right here, it's just a simple little piece, a small chunk of hair, and you are going to divide it into 3 equal pieces, just how you do a 3-strand braid. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take the farthest piece and I'm going to cross it over the middle piece, and it becomes the new middle piece. Then I'm going to take the opposite side and I'm going to cross it over the new middle piece for it to become the new middle piece. So now I still have the 3 sections of hair, and I've now done 2 stitches of the braid because I've taken both of the outside pieces and they've both crossed over. So now it is the far left side's turn to become the new middle piece, and I'm going to simply add in a small section of hair, as you can see, right beside the top part that I started with. And I'm just going to add that in to the outside piece, and that piece is going to cross over to become the new middle piece. And so now I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to add in a small section of hair to the outside piece, and I'm going to cross that over, and it is going to become the new middle piece. So it's the same as a simple 3-strand braid, but this time you are just going to be adding in small pieces of hair, small chunks of hair to the outside piece right before you cross them over to become the new middle piece. And so you're just going to continue adding in hair to the outside pieces before you cross them over to the middle pieces to create the French braid. And so you're just going to continue this. And the trickiest part is learning how to move your fingers to hold the 3 different strands, but it just takes practice to get used to how to hold the hair. And you want to make sure, as you are doing the French braid, that you are smoothing out the sections that you're adding into the hair so it doesn't create bumps on the side as you are braiding. So I'm just simply using my fingers to smooth out the hair that I'm adding in to the outside pieces that become the new middle pieces. And so I like to add smaller sections of hair, smaller chunks from the side to the outside pieces because I think it just makes the braid a little bit smaller and you can just see more of the braid forming down the hair. Whereas if you were adding in big sections of hair or big chunks to the side, the braid it'll just form faster and there won't be as many stitches in the braid. So the braid will just be bigger instead of smaller, which it just depends on like your personal preference. And so now that I'm almost getting towards the bottom, I'm still just adding in hair to the outside pieces to become the middle piece. And so now you can see the braid forming. It started at the top and just was coming down. So you just add in hair so here's the braid and here's the leftover hair. And so you're just adding small sections into the outside piece and then crossing it over to the middle. So here's the outside piece, and I'm just adding in a small section of hair, and then I'm crossing that outside section over the middle to create the braid. So it's the same way as a simple 3-strand braid, but you're just adding in hair to the outside, which makes it French. And then once you get to the bottom, you still have 3 separate sections. So you have 1, 2, and 3. And you're just going to do this simple 3-strand braid going all the way down to the end. And it's what is really fun about French braids, any way that you do it, is that you can choose to do so many different styles with French braids. So with this style, I'm braiding it all the way down to the end and tying it off with a hair tie. But I could have chose to end the braid right here in a ponytail, or you could end it at the bottom and create a bun. But just to show y'all, I'm doing a simple French braid at the back. And if you'll turn around, you can see the front of the braid. You can see it right here, and it just goes straight down the back. And you can see the braid right here. And so that's a simple French braid. And then I'm going to show you one more hairstyle using the Dutch style. And so you can see how the braid just like slowly falls out because the hair isn't like tied into knots. It's just braided. So it's very easy to get the braids out. And then you always just want to make sure that you rebrush or comb the hair before it's styled again, just to prevent tangles or knots from happening. And then, so for this style, I'm going to be doing something that's similar to my hair now, but I'm just going to make them French braids, and I'm actually going to do them under braids, which makes them Dutch braids. So I'm going to start by parting her hair down the middle. And it's how I like to do this to make sure it's exactly down the middle. I'll take the comb and I'll start it towards the nose, and I'll just go straight back so you can find it, and it ends up meeting the spine in the back, so you can just figure out if your hair is perfectly parted. So I'll just start the comb like this, and I'll go straight back so you can find the middle of the hair. And you can just use the edge of the comb and go straight down. Whenever you do this, it almost exactly perfectly parts the hair down the middle. And so if you just have a small piece, you can retake the comb like so, and then you have the hair perfectly parted in the middle. And so I'm going to take this side and tie it off, since I'm going to start with the other side, just so that this side is out of the way. And so I'm going to start by braiding this side of the hair. And so like with the French braid, I'm going to start with a small chunk of hair at the top, which you can see here. It's just like a small triangular piece at the front of her hair. And I'm going to divide it into 3 sections, as you can see. And so with those 3 sections, instead of the outside piece going on top of the hair, I'm going to take the outside pieces and they're going to go under. And this is going to be the under braid, but this time we're going to add in hair, which makes it a Dutch braid. And so I'm just going to add in hair after I did the first 2 stitches and make the outside piece go under. So I'm going to add in hair to the outside piece, and that's going to go under the middle piece. And so you're just going to continue this all the way down the head. I'm just going to cross the outside pieces under the middle pieces after adding in small sections of hair. So just adding in, just using my fingers to make the sections, and just adding it into the outside pieces, and then crossing them over to the middle. And this is called a Dutch French braid because it is going under instead of over, and you're adding in hair. So I'm just keeping 3 different sections, and I'm just adding in hair. So you can see here I'm just adding in a small section to that far left piece. I'm crossing it over to become the new middle piece. I'm just continuing this process all the way down. And so once you get to the bottom, you just want to make sure that you gather all the hair so there's no hair left, and add that into your last section and just finish it off. So the same way, once you get to the bottom, you still have your 3 sections, and you're just crossing those pieces over to become the middle pieces. So you can see like this. And it's just creating a Dutch braid, which is an under braid. And so then once you get to the bottom, you just want to tie the hair off. Like so. And then I'm going to repeat this on the opposite side. Oops. And so you're just going to start off with a small section at the top, divide it into 3 pieces, then start with the outside piece and crossing them over. And just like how I did on the other side, we're going under instead of over. And so I'm just adding in small sections of hair. And something that I love about French braids is that you can choose in what direction that you want the braids to go. So for this style, I'm choosing to do right in between, but I could choose to pull the braids closer to her center part, or I could choose to braid the hair closer around her face, which will be closer to her hairline around her face, but I'm choosing to do right in between. And something that I love personally about Dutch braids or under braids compared to French braids is that you can pancake the hair, which I'm going to show you how to do, which is where you simply take these strands of hair and you're going to very gently pull on the outsides, which will make the hair look thicker or more full. And I feel like it just makes the braids look a little bit fancier, and it just gives the Dutch braids a whole different look. So I'm just gently pulling on the outside pieces, like so. And you can see how that's making the braid look a lot bigger and fuller compared to when you don't. And so you just want to keep braiding on down. And then you just want to simply pull gently on the very outside of the braid. You don't want to pull too much from the center. You just want to grab the outer strands of the hair and pull on them like so, to prevent the hair from tangling. Just want to continue to do this all the way down. And then once you get to the bottom, you just want to tie off the same way. And so here you can see the difference between pancaking the hair, which makes the braid appear to be a lot thicker and fuller. And then on the other side, it's just a simple Dutch braid that is not. So you can see here how it's pulled apart, which is called pancaked, a Dutch braid. And on this side, it's not pancaked. It's just a simple French braid. And then I'll let her turn around to show you the front view of the hair. And so this is what it looks like from the front. You can see that this is the side that is pancaked, Dutch, and then the side is not. You can just see how that gives it a fuller effect. And so yeah, that is how you do a simple 3-strand braid, a simple under braid that is 3-strand, a French braid that is going straight back, which is an over braid, and then you can see a pigtailed, which is 2, Dutch braid, and then you also have the option to do the braid pancaked, which makes it fuller, or non-pancaked, which is just another Dutch braid. And so yeah, thank y'all for watching, and I hope y'all learned how to braid hair and do different braids.